separate card, and then make host.
Okay, don't need those.
Oh, it looks great.
Don't get your hopes up about how the rest of it looks.
There you go.
Okay. Can you settle yourself? Hold your blankie. That's rude. Okay. All right, well, let's go ahead and begin. So welcome to Special Topics. Sorry, Melissa's not here. You're just gonna have to deal with my rambling today. So, sucks to be you. I'm just kidding. So we're gonna do, can you settle yourself? Just go under your blanket. Good boy. So we are talking about pattern games today. Here we go. So why pattern games? It gives all these pattern games we play, and you are probably familiar with some, even if you don't know it. They give animals context in which to process environmental changes. So, here you go. So basically all that means is that if something comes along that might potentially trigger an animal, by playing a pattern game, you give them a way to kind of cope with that change and process it and maybe even not react to it, which would be the goal. That's my mouth. Thanks. It can also be used to help counter condition and desensitize animals to things. So like if they're not super reactive yet and you don't want them to become reactive, this is a good way to get them to accept things and not be sensitive to them. It can help over-aroused or unfocused dogs to actually focus on the task at hand. It can also prevent reactivity from developing in the first place, which is always ideal if you can. It's not a lot of what we see at the shelter, but you know, there are dogs out in the world that are actually well adjusted from birth. You can believe it. Sorry, Bruno is rolling over and showing me his belly and just like kicking me. It can also help shy animals gain some confidence. So like I like to use these for our fraidy cats sometimes because it really helps them cope with things and get more confident and actually be willing to become friends with people, which is kind of the whole goal of the fraidy cat program. So some background on these pattern games. Everything I'm going to talk about today is from Control Unleashed by Leslie McDevitt. She has written 3 books. If you actually have cameras up, you can see them right here. Not that I'm a nerd or anything. So the original book was written in 2007. It's just called Creating a Focused and Confident Dog, Control Unleashed. Can you move out of my space? All right, come here. No, whatever, I'm gonna talk over you. The pattern, like the books were written mostly as a sport dog companion. So like if you ever read the book, it talks a lot about agility and fly ball, and I don't even know all the dog sports. I don't even know them, so I'm not even gonna repeat them because they interest me very little. So it's mostly for like agility dogs and stuff, but it can be used in non-competitive settings. She developed it though as a way to help dogs in competitive settings not react to the other dogs on the course, not react to the judges, actually be able to focus on the task at hand, despite the fact that there's like all sorts of distractions around that you just can't set up those circumstances in a non-competitive setting, you know? There's a lot of different patterns that can be used, literally 3 books full of them. Some are stationary, some are mobile, and you are all already familiar with one of the pattern games. It's called Look at That. So believe it or not, you've been playing pattern games ever since you started at the shelter. Okay, so I'm guessing you've bought in by now. You're totally into pattern games because I'm very persuasive. Okay, you know what? There you go. So probably wondering what exactly they are. Bruno, you are just, I should not have come in here. So a pattern game is a set of behaviors that an animal can offer that are predictable. So, you know, it follows a pattern, no matter what the circumstances are. So, you know, the animal knows that it can offer this certain set of behaviors, and no matter what is happening in the world around it, no matter what comes up unexpectedly, it can just keep offering the behaviors and know that it will get a reward at the end, or in the middle, or both. Some games are based on classical conditioning, some are more about operant conditioning, but the vast majority of them include both. So, first pattern we're gonna take a look at is called Up and Down. It is literally the easiest pattern game you can ever play with an animal. And I'm really hoping my YouTube links work. So I apologize in advance if things get a bit dicey from here on. So Up and Down is a voluntary exercise, which means the animal is going to, there we go. The animal is going to offer a behavior in order to continue the game. It's a stationary game, so it doesn't involve moving. It's a great thing to play like if you're at a vet's office in the waiting room, or if you're working with a fraidy cat and they're just in a small kennel, and so you can't really have them necessarily like run laps around a room or something. So it's a stationary game. It allows the animal to process changes in its environment. So if something else happens that is scary, they can focus on the predictability of the pattern. And the pattern itself is there's a treat on the ground, I eat the treat, I make eye contact, another treat gets put on the ground. So the animal is actually like looking down and then up, and then down and then up, hence Up and Down. They get to choose if they keep going, because making eye contact is the thing that prompts the handler to actually continue the game. It doesn't require movement, so it works really well in small places. Like if you have a dog that's reactive in the car, that's a good place to use it. I already said all that. So yeah, so that's the pattern. You just, in order to play this game though, sorry, I have a dog sniffing my butt and it's really throwing me off. So in order to play this game, you have to make sure your animal has a default behavior already learned, so that they can offer it as a way to continue the game. In this case, it's usually look, so it'll be eye contact. So if you have that default behavior already learned, all you're gonna do is put a treat on the ground in front of the animal, you're gonna wait until they look up at you, and then you're gonna put a treat on the ground in front of the animal again. So, oh, come on. Why? Okay. Okay. I thought this might happen, so. Okay, YouTube.
Beth, I think sometimes if you press, is it shift and try the link, or control and try?
Really? Okay.
There.
Ooh, control and click. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry. Whatever this is, PowerPoint is not exactly my forte. So this is me working with Richard on up and down. What are you doing?
But then I feel like we have to just reward eating the treats without waiting for the eye contact. And then we can eye contact.
So you can see Richard is making eye contact. I put the treat in the ground. He looks down to eat the treat. He looks back up at me to make eye contact, and that prompts me to put another treat in the ground.
The whole point is like it's pattern.
Yeah,
As long as
I didn't realize we talked so much during this video.
sure.
how we're eating it.
Roger.
Oh, Richard.
Time. Approvable.
Never noticed how squeaky our air conditioning is. No, cancel. Okay, so that's basically the up and down pattern. In that video in particular, we also were using a principle called the pre-MAC principle because Richard didn't want to eat the treats. So we paired it with petting so that he would be more likely to eat the treats so that we could actually do the pattern game. Any questions about that specific pattern? No one's talking. I'm moving on. So now we're going to talk about my favorite pattern game. It's like my default go-to in every situation for some reason. It's called Super Bowls. That is half the reason I love it so much. Thanks. This is a game that uses motion, and it is a voluntary game. So the animal drives whether it happens or not. It helps teach an animal how to approach and retreat from an environmental stimuli that may or may not be scary to it. It also teaches them to be able to move around in general when something new is in their environment. You do, again, need to have a default behavior already taught before you can play this game. It also pairs really well with up and down. So like you can do up and down and then move into Super Bowls if you want to, so that you have a stationary thing that you're working on, and then you can add an element of movement to it. So how it's done is you line up several bowls. I like to start with 5. I don't know why. 5 just seems like a nice number to me. In order to teach Super Bowls, you usually do the up and down game at one of the bowls on the end so that they kind of get used to you dropping a treat in the bowl. And then once you have a really good success rate at that, you can start moving down the line of bowls. So when the animal makes eye contact with you, you drop a treat in the bowl. They make eye contact with you, you drop a treat in the next bowl. You do want to make sure that the animal sees where the treat is going. You don't want to like bamboozle anyone. You don't want them to be confused. Yes. You want it to be a predictable game that they understand and they know exactly what's happening at all times. And then you just repeat the game going up and down the line of bowls so that they can start moving towards something and then retreating away from it. And then once they're really good at that, you want to start adding in an element of something new in the environment. So like you can have someone walk around, you can have a sound playing, something that's just new that they might react to so that they can kind of process that. So for this, I have my good buddy Richard again. Maybe. Oh, okay, don't press control that time, got it. Weird. This video might be a little long too.
Yes.
Richard isn't so great at seeing things, so sometimes I had to show him a couple times where the treat goes. And I'm still using the pre-MAC principle here and pairing petting with him eating the food so that he's more likely to actually eat the food, which is what I want him to do. But you can see he's moving down this line of bowls here. And then he's gonna, once he gets to the end, he's gonna make his way back. If he ever makes eye contact. And that's fine. He can move at his own pace. So if he's not ready to move to the next bowl, that's totally fine. So now he's making his way back down the line of bowls. So he has approached something and now he's retreating. Sorry, it's a long video, but something happens in here that I really want you guys to see or hear.
Distracted, no.
So Joe is kind of shuffling her feet around and he's clearly very distracted by it, but even though it's kind of a weird thing for her to be doing, he settled right back into the pattern pretty easily because it's predictable and he knows kind of what will happen in his world if he does. Okay, I think that's enough of that. Oh, bless you. So that is a Super Bowls game. I just really like that one because it's easy to go from stationary to movement. And also, I just like Super Bowls as a game. So one of my other favorite games is Take a Breath. This is a stationary game. It is non-voluntary, not meaning I'm gonna like compel any animal to do anything, but just meaning that they don't necessarily give a signal to go ahead and keep going. Although I like to add eye contact so that there is that voluntary aspect to it. This is a great game to play if you need an animal to just kind of calm down or stay calm or just kind of practice relaxation. And they're not quite at the point where they can necessarily lay down or do the relaxation protocol or something. It's a very simple game. It can be really useful. Sorry, I got ahead of myself. It's very useful if you spend time with the animal in question first, though, because it does involve staring at nostrils quite a bit, and you kind of need to know what your particular animal's breathing looks like so that you know what to reward, because it can be kind of hard to see sometimes. So the way to do it is you hold a treat up to your face and just kind of breathe in. You can make it very exaggerated because basically what you're doing here is modeling. You're showing the dog or animal or whatever what you want it to do, and then it kind of copies you and does it, and that's when you reward them. So you hold the treat up to your face, you breathe in, you wait for the animal to also breathe in, pay very close attention to their nostrils, and wait for the little flare, give them a treat. And then sometimes I like to wait for eye contact before moving on, but it's not strictly necessary. So we've got everyone's favorite Chihuahua here demonstrating. And in this video, he is in the living room, which everyone knows can be a little bit stressful for him. He reacts to a lot of things in there, depending on the day. Look at his cute little nose. So you could see, like, it's hard to see unless you know him and you're paying very close attention, but his little nose twitched, which is him taking a breath in, and that's when I mark it and reward him. It's on the computer, buddy. And you can see he's looking around and like weirded out by something out there, but he comes right back to the pattern and just takes a breath and gets his treat. Oh, it's okay, honey. No, it's on the show. It's on the computer. You don't get the whole bag. You get the whole bag when you're good.
Bless you, little buddy.
And that's when he walks away. He decided he's not ready to do anymore, and that's fine. So that's an example of take a breath, although I think this one with Fuji is even better.
He's trying to get on now, so after he jumps on, then we can get started. Does anybody else have anything?
What is happening?
Any other questions?
Okay. So this video that Joe made of Fuji is really great. You can really see those nostrils flare.
Beth, there seems to be a lot of crackling on the line. I think everybody's hearing it. I don't know if there's something on your side.
Yeah.
Oh, probably, because I don't hear anything.
Yeah.
Unless it's Bruno. Is it still happening?
Is there something close to the speaker maybe? Or hitting the speakers on the laptop?
It very well could be.
And the video is kind of choppy.
Don't go over there. Okay, is it still crackling?
No, it sounds much better.
Okay, good. But look at those nostrils, man. They're so expressive. You have to do that right here, buddy. It's on the computer. Fuji. You don't like Fuji? Hey, Fuji's gone. See? Fuji's gone.
Bruno growling at food.
He was like, that's a dog face on there. Bleh. Okay, so that's Take a Breath. It's a very simple game. It's very focused on just relaxation and being calm and still. All the dog has to do is take a breath and get a treat. So this next one is a fantastic game that is a great alternative to Look at That. We've been doing it with a lot of dogs in the shelter lately. This is Joe's favorite game, so it gets done a lot. So it's great because it can be both a stationary game and a game with movement. So you teach your dog or animal or whatever this one pattern game, and it has so many different applications. You can use it in a stationary setting, you can use it in a outdoor, like moving around setting. It can be voluntary, it can be non-voluntary. So if you have this one down pat, you're pretty much set, and you can use it in all sorts of situations. Oh, I lied on my slide. Whatever. So how you do 1, 2, 3 is basically first you want to create anticipation of the word 3. But basically, if you've ever done loading a clicker, it's the same concept. So you're just going to say 3 and give the dog or animal. Sorry, there's a dog example on this slide, but there's also a horse. So I keep saying animal and dog. So you just say 3 and give the animal a treat. Once it anticipates 3 leading to a treat, then you can backwards chain the 2 and a 1. So once it's pretty good at 3, you just say 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3. This is a classical conditioning element. The dog or whatever doesn't have to do anything to get the treat. All they literally have to do is wait for you to say the word 3 and they get a treat. It doesn't matter what they're doing. Once that's pretty down and they anticipate the word 3 leading to a treat, you can add in the voluntary aspect of this game and wait for them to make eye contact or whatever default behavior you use as a way to say, we can start the next repetition. And then once that's done pretty well, you can take it out into the world on the move. So basically the way you do that is every time you say a number, you would take a step. So it'd be 1 step, 2 step, 3 treat. That way the animal is moving with you because they know on 3 they're going to get the treat from you. So they got to keep up with you in order to get that treat, but they still don't have to do anything in order to get it. This is great on walks with reactive animals because you don't necessarily have to wait for a trigger to come by in order to use it. Like for someone like Sully, who's just stressed out by existing, this is a great game to play down the road because, like, what are you doing? Oh, I thought he was about to be right next to me. Where was I? Sully. So he's just like stressed out by existing. So you don't necessarily have to be like, okay, I gotta wait for a trigger to come by in order to play. Look at that. You can just use this game to even make him move, because sometimes he has problems with that. This also is a great form of choice training because the animal does have some choice in this. They get to give you eye contact to say that they're ready to move on. And if you're doing a moving version, then basically that making eye contact means I'm okay to keep moving forward the way we're going. And then if they don't give you eye contact or whatever the default behavior you're using is, then it's time to head back because they clearly don't want to go in the direction you're still going. So this is 1, 2, 3 walking with a horse. His name is Trigger and his default behavior is not eye contact, it is bobbing his head. So when he ducks his head down, that's the default behavior to move forward. He's so pretty. Are you ever gonna load? I promise you actually get to see some horse at some point. That was me trying to break a treat in half. They don't break. So you'll notice I'm not leading him. I don't have my hand on the lead rope. He's choosing to follow me because he wants that treat that he knows he's going to get on 3. So every time he dips his head down, that's when I move forward. And then I explain things twice.
And that way, the exercise went from being kind of in my control and at my discretion to under his control.
He's so cute. No, don't step on that. Sorry. Move. when he's walking towards the camera, he's coming closer to, sorry, not Cthulhu. He's coming, darn it, Bruno. I know you're perfect in every way, I'm sorry. When he's walking towards the camera, he's approaching the barn, which is a source of stress for him. He does not like going in the barn. So he's less quick to give me the default. Can you stop stepping on my computer? Come here. He's less likely, he's less willing to give me that default behavior so that we can keep going. But he does do it, and I wait for him and I don't force him. Can you stop stepping on that? Come here. No. There we go. You're such a booger. Okay, there's no more horse left. Wait, where did the other one go? Well, I did have a video of Penny Sully, but apparently I didn't paste that one in here. But so applications, you can see you can apply these games in everyday life for most animals. And it doesn't have to be a dog or a cat. You can use this on literally any organism with a brain that is able to be trained, which is why I like them so much. They're fun to practice because the animal doesn't have to do a whole lot in order to receive their treat. All they have to do is settle into a predictable interaction, and then they get a treat for it. It also sets the groundwork to help an animal cope in a stressful situation. Because if you practice this in a non-stressful situation, then when you get into a stressful situation, you can just go right into the familiar pattern that they know, and then they can cope with it easier because they know if they look down and then up, they will get a treat, no matter what's happening in the world around them. So it helps them gain control over their interactions with the world. They can also all be done as standalone games, but they can be combined as well. Like if you're doing a 1, 2, 3 walk with Penny and Sully, there's nothing that says you cannot also do look at that, or stop on the corner and do some up and down because that corner is stressful or something. These games are great at managing reactivity, but when you practice them before reactivity sets in, so before you have a double rhythm, it can be great to prevent the reactivity altogether. So in conclusion, pattern games are awesome. I'm totally obsessed with them. If you ever talk to me about training, I will probably talk to head off about pattern games like I am now, although maybe in a slightly more animated way. I'm a bit of a fangirl about Leslie McGuffin. I think she's fantastic. She's a Houston native, by the way, and she said if she ever visits here again, she will come visit us. So if I ever start talking your head off about how awesome she is, just ignore me and move on with my life. But her books are really great, and her seminars are even better because they have tons of videos and explanations, and you can get a lot out of them. One of her seminars is basically what caused me to become obsessed with this and started me on a path to become a Control Unleashed certified instructor, which is something I'm working on right now with Joe. But I mean, all her patterns are really easy to do. All you have to do is know the pattern, have a great friend, and some consistency in your practice. They're all about bringing predictability and control into an animal's life. So it's especially great in a shelter setting because we all know these dogs they can't predict what's going to come around the corner. Like we have people coming and going when we're open all the time, and they don't know what kind of people they're going to be, or if they're going to be nice to them, or if they're going to be mean to them, or if they're going to stand in front of their kennel door and go blah, which is kind of scary. Yeah, So if you want to learn more about pattern games, please feel free to talk to myself or Joe, because we are both trying to become certified control animation instructors. So we want to teach everyone about everything all the time. And then of course Melissa, because she knows everything about everything. So you can always ask her questions about anything. And then my last point is Richard is kind of the best. So if you haven't played with Richard, you definitely should.
Hey Beth, I have a Richard question actually.
Go for it.
I was thinking about it earlier. When is he gonna get surgery like Jimmy did?
Yeah, I think it's scheduled for the end of this month.
Oh, okay, thank God. That poor boy.
I know, right?
I think it makes me sad. Okay, thank you for answering that.
Yeah. So what do you think about pattern games? Any questions or clarifications I can make? Sorry, questions you can make, clarifications I can make. I'm not going to make questions. Oh, come on. I know I didn't explain it well enough to have everyone understand it completely.
I guess I have it's a half question, more of a half thought.
Yeah.
Ever be with the breathing exercise?
Mm-hmm.
Would you ever be concerned that like you might deal with frustration if they're not getting that breathing is what's bringing that treat?
Yeah, definitely. Because obviously you don't want to create more frustration in your animal that you are trying to calm down. And you can use a bit of shaping there. So like if they're not necessarily flaring their nostrils or getting that that's what's getting them the treat, that's kind of why I said you would hold a treat up to your nose and go, because it just kind of like, that's the modeling aspect. So that they get like breathing in means treat. But you can also use a little bit of shaping, like with Bruno. Yeah, she did say not to mark it, but it's just habit. I mark everything. So don't do as I say, not as I do. But I totally lost my train of thought with that chat. Oh, right, take a breath. You can shape it a bit too. So like in the video with Bruno, he was sometimes sniffing the treat and not necessarily like taking a breath. That's fine. He's making an effort. There's social pressure there because I'm like staring at him and holding a treat expectantly. So like I can reward him for sniffing that treat. As long as he's doing something that is inherently calming, which taking a breath can be, because, you know, what do we all tell each other when we're in a tight spot? We just say, it's okay, breathe, deep breaths, we'll get through it. Same concept.
Thank you.
Anyone else? I do not have a secret horse I've been keeping you guys from. It is a friend's horse. And I basically was like, can I please train your horsey for free because I just want to be around a horsey, please, 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 please. And she was like, yeah, okay, whatever. So that's my horse secret. Any other questions? Discussion points? Joe, do you have anything to add?
I guess I have a question. So just maybe you guys, what dogs and cats have you been working with? And what have you been doing with them?
Well, obviously I'm in love with Richard, so he gets a lot of it. Which I don't know why, he can't see things. So like, I'm like, make eye contact with me. And he's like, but it works. I mean, it's eye contact. Hi. We've been working with Penny and Sully on 1, 2, 3, as well as Nala and Julio and George and, huh?
Chance can do 1, 2, 3.
Hands, yep.
So we have been with Bev. We've been working on voluntary 1, 2, 3 with Sully, because you all know that Sully gets like super duper anxious on walks. So our goal is to teach him a voluntary 1, 2, 3. So basically, we're going to wait for him to restart the 1 to 3 pattern before we move on the walk. That way we can gauge how far he is comfortable walking. And basically he's going to be the one who is in control of his walk and how far he walks. So we took a video, and that is kind of the first video of us working and Emily working in the backyard. He was a little bit too stressed to actually take it out on the street. It was a Saturday, there were too many things going on in the backyard and around the backyard. That video will go up on, I think I'll post it either me or Beth will post it either today or tomorrow after, we're just waiting for after this talk. And I just wanted to add, I thought that I was talking, but I actually did not unmute myself earlier. When it comes to take a breath, Leslie actually says, but you're not, Leslie McDevitt says, but you're not supposed to mark it. So you could hear me mark it in the video that you just watched, but there is basically too many chances that you're going to mark something different on, like you're going to confuse the dog. So all you do, it's just all you do is basically you creating this calm environment when you calming yourself by taking deep breaths, and the dog basically relaxes by watching you, right, Mindy? You're going to do that, I can see it. And so you don't actually have to mark it at all.
That's true. Which kind of goes back to what Emery was asking. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a breath. Like, they don't necessarily have to catch on that taking a breath is what gives them the treat. Because, like, they're going to have to breathe. They can't just hold their breath forever. So, but yeah, you just want them to do something that is inherently a calm behavior. But you know that you're marking taking a breath. What is that? Get it. Nope, not into it. Anything else? It's something I kind of like, I want to try and do take a breath with a cat. I just haven't figured out how to tell if they're breathing yet. Like, I know they breathe. I know they do. They're just, their nostrils are not as expressive as like Fuji's. So it's something I've been observing.
Is there a way to look at their chest or something? You know, sometimes their chest moves, well, the diaphragm moves slightly. I don't know.
Probably. Mostly with cats, I like to do up and down because they're in those small kennels and there's just not a whole lot of space. So, you know, stationary games are nice. And they all know how to make eye contact. So it's a pretty easy game to play. Although I also like Super Bowls for like everything. I love Super Bowls. I don't know why. I just do.
It's the name.
It pretty much is. Like, it just sounds so exciting. Hi, why are you climbing me? It's weird. It's fine. Anything else?
I've got a question. When I was watching, I think sometimes there's a bit of a delay with the videos when we were watching a little bit. So with the horse, you wait for the horse to dip its head, and then you count and walk forward 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And then you wait to the horse to catch up. So you're not actually rewarding on 3. You're waiting for the horse to catch up and then rewarding.
Well, theoretically, you want to reward on 3.
Okay.
He was a bit lumbery.
Okay.
And not catching up to me as fast as I thought he would. Excuse me. It's not for you. Bruno. Little piggy. He was like, oh, this entire bag of hot dog treats behind your butt is for me. But yeah, like, and especially when we were moving towards the barn, he was kind of like, I'm gonna hang back a bit. but you go do you. But I did hold the treat out on 3 so that it was available to him.
Okay.
So that was kind of the compromise we came to.
Okay.
He had also, my timing could have been better because I went there to feed him lots of treats literally right as he finished dinner. So he was not super motivated that night. So it was kind of an accelerated version of it. And if I had spent a little more time, he might have been a little more willing to come with me.
Okay. So if, for example, if that was a dog that you were working with, or, you know, would you slow your pace down to their pace? Is that?
I would, because I like to, I mean, you want to keep the dog an arm's length from you. So you don't necessarily want to create a whole lot of distance between you.
Okay.
And if you have to stop a couple times and do a standing still 1, 2, 3, just to kind of get back into the pattern, that's fine too.
Okay.
Such a weirdo. Anyone else? Is this going to be like the first special topics training we actually end on time? Because I don't know if I'm allowed to allow that.
Yes, Beth.
No, I think it was really good, Beth. And I think the thing is, like, it was really good because, you know, the explanations are all there and then the video's there. So for me now, it's really going away and actually giving it a try. And then I'm sure once I've given it a try, I'll have some questions about it. But I think, you know, you've given as much information as we need right now to give it a start.
Cool. And there's so many videos out there on the internet. So like if you just Google like Leslie McDevitt's name, you're going to get a ton of videos. But you can also, like, these games are pretty unique to her. So, you know, if you Google take a breath or control unleashed in general, you're going to find a lot of videos that are going to help you learn the patterns. And then also, yeah. Yes.
Drank the Kool-Aid.
It's very delicious Kool-Aid. I encourage everyone to take a sip.
Yeah, it actually used to be on our reading list at FFL, and that's why I bought it, but I just actually haven't got around to reading it. And actually, I think the look at that protocol that we use refers to it.
Yeah, because it's definitely, I mean, the look at that protocol that we do literally every day with every dog is Control Unleashed. Like, that's the most popular game. Everyone in the world knows look at that, which I did not realize until reading this book because I thought it was just a thing we did. So, go figure. I guess we're not that special. Also, literally every other trainer in the world uses yes to mark behaviors, and I thought that was something that was special to us too. It's not. We're not special, guys. No, I'm just kidding. We're actually pretty special.
And we're very good at what we do.
It's true. We try. It helps that Melissa is here to mentor all of us. But, all right. Well,
That was
on
terrific. Thank you, Beth.
Yeah, thanks all everyone for coming. Sorry if I was a bit jumbled and disorganized. Don't pee here. Don't do it. I'm about to take you out. Oh, he's getting weird. So we'll just go ahead and wrap up so I can take Bruno out because he's making some real weird movements in here.
Thanks, Beth.
Thanks so much. If you ever have questions, come find me. Or Joe. Go find Joe.
Thanks, Beth.
Thank you. Do you need to go outside?